See how she sounds. Sounds pretty good. Sounds real good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace the seat with a Corvette seat. So this Corvette seat right here, I picked up for, I think $100 for the set, or 75. Pretty cheap. You could probably find some Camaro seats out there for the same price, but these are a little better grade of leather, and they're more form-fitting. They've got these sides on them. Here, I'll set this down and show you. Okay, so they've got the side bolsters on them, nice and thick. A little bit better cushion on them, and they are in really good shape. Really good shape. So basically, what I have to do is I have to take the track off of this seat. As you can see, there's a couple bolts on each side holding them on, so I got to take this track off and mount it to my new seat. So I'm gonna do that now, and we'll see how it goes. A bit of a tool review. The Milwaukee 18 volt impact makes quick work of any bolt. Okay, so one adjustment I had to make on these seat bases to the seat tracks for the factory tracks. Now you can get aftermarket tracks, or I could have used the tracks that came with the seats, but they didn't come with the seats, so I'm using my tracks. And my tracks aren't the greatest, but they'll work. Basically, on your mounting holes, you can't expect them to line up at all, because they're not going to. But on this particular side, I just drilled new holes in the track itself. So here's the existing hole, here's the new hole. Stuff like this you're gonna have to mess with and fabricate a little bit until you get it right. So I drilled new holes in the back of the tracks. I'll show you what I'm done, and then I'm using the existing holes on the front of the tracks. All right, now that's not the end of it. I'm also adding rubber bushings under the seats, because the shocks are horrible on this car, and I just like to add as much cushion as I can. That's not true at all. The slide adjuster on this seat would rub on the Corvette recliner lever, whatever that's called. So I had to raise it up. Not to mention, this is a solid track, and the track on the existing seats it's got a concave curve to it. So it sets down in there. And so basically this track here has the factory IROC track has a couple large rivets on it, sticking it down so it can't set flat. So if you look from this side, I had to raise it up. See that gap in there? So the seat's not gonna sit any higher, because if you look, the base on this seat is taller in itself, so I could have raised it up taller, but you want these bolts to be as strong as possible, and that's the most important part. So let's keep going. All right, working on the IROC again today. It kind of looks like a junkyard build at this point, because this is a really dirty part of the car. I don't know why, but it is. And what I'm about to show you is a little rough. All right, just bear with me. This is the mechanism for the power seat in the 1987 IROC-Z. There you have it. Absolutely disgusting. So basically, one of the issues with this seat is, or was, one of these tabs here was broke off It was this front tab, so this support bracket was loose, and that caused the seat to be a little wobbly in the front. Made it feel very cheap and shitty. So what I did was basically, you don't have much clearance inside this track. Let me light it up for you. So you can see inside that track you have hardly any clearance at all. This barely slides by as it is. Not sure if I put weight on there if it's going to change, but when you raise and lower the seat, it actually changes the position of that sleeve right there. There's a screw inside here. This thing does a lot of stuff. So tilts forward, backwards, side to side, slides forward and backwards. So basically, if it won't slide past that, you can raise the seat up and it will slide past it. I don't really have anything else here in the shop that would work. So that's why I use that carriage bolt. What else can I tell you? So now that I got the track all working and disassembled from the seat, it was fairly easy to disassemble from the existing seat. So basically, to take this whole mechanism off, all you really have to do is raise and lower the seat. Of course, you take the 4 mounting bolts out, the 4 mounting nuts for the seat itself. Those are pretty easy to get to. And then to get to the actual bolts that hold the mechanism to the seat, there's 4 of them. That's where you raise and lower the power seat mechanism to get access to those bolts, because it's really tight in there. Once you do that, it just kind of pulls right out. You also have to disassemble the electrical switches from the side of the seat, and I believe they were on that side. I'm probably going to steal this here to mount the plastic back, maybe not. But you basically have to take the plastics off the side of the seat. While doing that, there's like 4 screws on each piece. While doing that, the electronic switches will basically just come loose and they just pull right out. So now I'm gonna basically assemble that assembly into my new Corvette seat. New to me, not new by any means. But I'm gonna have to drill some new holes. I'm gonna have to notch out some of this foam for the switch. Probably put it right here. Got a lot of space. I might not even have to notch that at all. So I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. I've already got the holes drilled for the new mechanism, or the really used mechanism. Okay, so basically I took the track and I held it up to the seat. Everything's gonna work. I gotta add some bushings to these holes because the track actually, as you can see, it sits down. So I've got some rubber shock bushings that I'm gonna put right there and just add longer bolts. So the only major issue is this recliner control. Now I could push this over and the track will somewhat clear, but it's really tight and it kind of pushes that into the seat and eventually it's gonna break. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a grinder and I'm gonna notch out for that little mechanism. And really it's not a big deal. There's a lot of support here, and this is not gonna be used for any sort of racing or track time or anything crazy. Does it meet standards of whatever the seatbelt laws are and whoever regulates all of that stuff. Probably not. I could weld in another bracket here. Maybe I'll do that, maybe I won't. We'll see how flimsy it is, but basically I'm gonna notch this section out right here, and we'll see how it works. Okay, always wear your eye protection and be safe. There we have it. Dang it. I think I'm gonna have to pick that up later. Still pretty sturdy. You can see where I notched the channel. Well, this cable is going to rub on that. So basically, I'm gonna take this corner right here off. So I'll take my marker and I'll mark. Okay, now you can see it actually clears. Should be no issues. Another modification, the seat controls. Basically, there was, sorry, I wish I would have showed you this sooner, but there's basically a slot in the side of the seat already. And so all I had to do, so there's the frame, and then the frame had a notch in it almost identical to this size. I did have to trim it a little bit. Oh, there you go. You can see where I trimmed it there. All the way across. Ran my wires up through underneath in between the seat and the mechanism, and then just plugged it in. Basically cut the seat out a little rectangle for the controls, and let's see what it looks like. Okay, so I tucked it in. It fits pretty nice. I basically, where I cut the rectangle out of the seat, it's cold, people, so it's kind of hard to talk. It's winter time. So where I cut the rectangle out, I left a little remaining chunk on the bottom so I could tuck it into the hole, and that seemed to work pretty good. And so that kind of holds the leather on the seat. I don't know what these are. I'll have to look into it. Maybe it's the Corvette seat controls. I have no idea. That's Sully. He's kind of a jerk. He's got a brother, Milo. Looks just like him. So that works good. Okay. I got the plastics on, the switch in. Everything seems to be working. Been using this air freshener protectant. Gonna hit it with some of that. Get it all cleaned up. Give her a good wipe, and put it back in. A little better, a little shinier. Forward, backwards, up, down, tilt. Everything works. Legitimate Corvette Camaro seat. All right, got the seats installed. Not too bad. The car's really looking good. So like and subscribe if you want to see some more about the IROC.